With the 15th pick and with the 26th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Dwayne Haskins, Montez Sweat.
Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Luke. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report. So our boy Ron Rivera had a teleconference with the media talking about everything this offseason, essentially. Laid a lot of things out there, clarified a lot of things that we've been speculating about for the last month or so, including free agency, some of the moves made, guys that they missed out on, etc., etc. He cleared up some things potentially for the draft. I feel really good. If you're in the Chase Young to DC crowd, if you were Team Predator, then you've got to feel really good. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, which is the main reason we came on. But there are other things that he said, other nuggets from the teleconference on Zoom with the media. And I'll run over those quickly, and then we'll get to the main topic of discussion of the night. So he talked about free agency, and this was really interesting to me. He talked about a couple of guys that they missed out on, and we assumed that they were in heavy on one and really in heavy on the other as well, and just thought the money got too much on one of the guys, and on the other, he just chose to go back where he came from. And of course, I'm talking of Amari Cooper and his decision to go back to Dallas, although the Redskins had reportedly offered him more money. Rivera said, yeah, no, we were all in on Amari Cooper, and it just didn't work out. We really made a hard charge at him, and he ultimately decided to go back to Dallas. Meanwhile, on Austin Hooper, he said, well, we weren't really in on Austin Hooper. We were interested initially, but the money got too high, and so we kind of bowed out of that one gracefully. So not as heavy in on Austin Hooper as we thought going into free agency. I thought all along that they would be more in pursuit of an Austin Hooper, less on a guy like Amari Cooper, but it was the other way around. Redskins were definitely in pursuit of Amari Cooper very heavily, and just simply missed out. Meanwhile, Austin Hooper, they didn't think he was worthy of the money that he ultimately garnered on the market from the Cleveland Browns. So that was interesting. He talked about several other things, including the acquisition of Kyle Allen and how he feels like he brings a steady, calming influence to that quarterback room. But make no mistake about it, sounds like Dwayne Haskins is the guy at the quarterback position. I've never doubted it for 1 second. For those out there, the D'Angelo Halls of the world kind of stirring the pot, I've told you this is lying season. It's in rare form this year, more so than most, because everyone's at home. So there's nothing to do, so people have to come up with content. All right, so it's even worse this year than in previous years. So I've already told you what my stance was on that. I've told you what my stance was on the number 2 overall pick. And I told you I wasn't moving off of either of those spots. And I feel even more confident about both of those declarations that I have made over the last 3 months or so after listening to the reports coming out of the teleconference with Coach Rivera. So he also talked about the acquisitions that they've made via free agency on a lot of these short-term deals. And he said something that I have continued to echo, and I think this hammers home the point that I've been kind of driving, this narrative that I've been driving over the last 3 weeks or so of Ron's plan. Ron's plan, which is he talked about, a question was posed about all of the one-year deals, all of the short-term deals. Not all of them are one-year deals. Some of them are 2. There's 1 or 2 3s in there, and then there's the 4-year deal Kendall Fuller got. But for the most part, all of these are short-term deals. And to that, he said, look, it's an opportunity for these guys to prove it. And that's what I've been saying all along, is that he wants everyone to have an opportunity to compete, to prove that they belong. And the guys that rise above, they're going to remain on this roster. And he says, look, I'm not worried about the 1-year nature or the 2-year nature of these deals, and the possibility that these guys outplay these 1 or 2-year deals and then hit the market again, it gives us an opportunity to re-sign those players if we want them, which is what I've said Ron's plan consisted of. If there's a situation out there like last year where we take a guy and we shine him up and we turn him into a commodity on the free agent market like Eric Flowers and he decides to bolt, good for him. I'm not upset about that. But more often than not, if you really like a guy and he really wants to be there, you'll figure out a way to make it happen. So I like what the Redskins have done. And what it also says, and Rivera kind of alluded to this, didn't actually say this, but he kind of alluded to it, is that, look, if guys outperform their deals, we have a chance to bring them back, and they're all relatively young. If these guys don't, there is no financial penalty associated with these deals that we've done, which is what I've said all along Ron's plan consists of. Ron's plan is to not strap this team down to contracts that will hamper them moving forward. If these players prove themselves, all right, and one of these or two of these or three of these guys come out here and ball on a 1 or 2 year deal, and the second year is a team option or a player option, and they're able to get out of the contract and they want to go out and test free agency, and the Redskins really like what that player provided for them, think that they fit moving forward, then you find a way to make the money work. You know, you find a way to make the numbers dance. So love that answer from Rivera, but I love nothing more than the answer that Rivera had to the possibility of trading the number 2 overall pick, which is the reason I'm here tonight. For all of you Terminator fans out there, for all of you Team Predator fans like myself, who felt like the answer always is Chase Young. It's never optional. When people start asking you about the number 2 pick, it's Chase Young. And really, there's nothing else to talk about. I've stated my case many a times. And you know what I feel like now after, and I'm going to read you this quote from Rivera, word for word, verbatim, what he said to the media members on this teleconference. But before I do, this is what this quote feels like to me. All right. I feel like the Redskins now at number 2 and the prospects of getting Chase Young, I feel like we've just gotten the final first down at the end of a ball game. Redskins right now are up in the ball game 27-21. Okay. That's what this feels like. 27-21. You're up 6. Other team fresh out of timeouts. You get the first down. It's now the 2-minute warning, okay? You don't have to run another play. 3 knees wins you the ball game. I feel like right now, after reading this quote, 3 knees, and we've got Chase Young. You take a knee on Thursday, this upcoming Thursday, the 8th of April. You take another knee on the 15th of April, you take a knee on the 9th of April, okay, on Thursday. You take another knee on April 16th, the following Thursday, and then the final knee is taken on the 23rd, actual draft day, in which we are able to turn the card in, or in this case, phone the actual pick in to Roger Goodell, stating that the Redskins will be selecting Ohio State defensive end Chase Young. Feels really good to be able to take knees. Nothing like the victory formation, man. And I feel like we're in the victory formation after this quote. Let's take a look at what Ron Rivera had to say about the prospects of the number 2 pick. This from Ron Rivera. He says, if you're going to make a trade and you're going to go back, the guy that you're going to take at that spot has to be able to make the kind of impact you need to validate missing an opportunity to take a player that's a high impact guy. In other words, Chase Young. He says, in other words, if you're going to pass up player A, Chase Young, and you go back and you're going to take player D, let's say player D is Isaiah Simmons or it's Jeffrey Okuda. You fill in the blank with player D, okay? He says, player D has to be equal to player A, Chase Young, because if player A is going to play for you for 10 years and player D may not, then did you really get value or did you just get a whole bunch of picks? You've got to be able to sit there and say that the next guy that I'm going to take is going to be that high impact guy. And that's what I'm looking for. That's what I believe we need, is we need a guy that's going to come in and really change our football team. To me, there's a few guys on that board that are those kinds of players. Without saying Chase Young's name, without actually saying we're going to take Chase Young number 2, he pretty much just said we're going to take Chase Young number 2, is what Ron Rivera just said. And what he also just pretty much said is, look, while we respect Jeffrey Okudah and the Isaiah Simmons of the world, and those guys are really good football players, and trust me, if we weren't in a position to take Chase Young, those would be the guys we would be coveting. If we were sitting at 4 or we were sitting at 5 and we didn't have a chance at Chase Young and he wasn't staring us dead in the eyes with those predator eyes looking at us like, you better take me or I'm going to kick your ass for the next decade. If that wasn't the case, those guys would be really appealing to us. We have really high grades on Isaiah Simmons and Jeffrey Okudah, but those guys aren't Chase Young. Okay, I've always said this to you guys, and I'm going to continue to repeat this because I believe it to be the gospel. In this league, quarterbacks are the most important position, and I would take it a step further and say the quarterback position is the most important position in all of sports. All right, it's the single most dependent position in sports in terms of what they have to have go right for them, but more importantly, what the rest of the team has to have go right. If that quarterback isn't good, the rest of the team usually isn't good. All right, I don't care how good the defense is. I don't care how good. And we've seen examples of teams winning with lesser quarterbacks, but the quarterback still has to carry his weight, even if that burden has been lessened by an elite defense like the 2000 Ravens or the 2002 Bucks. We understand that that can happen, but those quarterbacks still have to carry their weight per se. Look, basically what I'm saying to you is after quarterback, the next most important position is edge rusher. All right. And then you get to the left tackle. Then you get to the corners and wide receivers and all the other positions. They kind of fall in line. But to me, it's quarterback, take 5 steps, edge rusher, take another 3 steps, and then you get to the rest of the positions in football. And so you can't pass on a guy like Chase Young. And I've said all along, he's a true difference maker on a team void of true difference makers that need more true difference makers. This is a guy that is that. And Ron Rivera pretty much said, this is a guy that is a difference maker. We need more difference makers. Can't pass on a chance to take a true difference maker that could play for you for a decade plus. So this is music to my ears. I'm prepared to take the first knee on Thursday in the victory formation. The following week, we'll take another knee. And then the week after that, we will take our final knee. We'll take the helmets off. We'll dap up. We'll go meet the other team. We'll swap jerseys, but we've won the game. We have won the Chase Young sweepstakes. The deed is almost done. Celebrate! We're getting close, guys. We're zooming in on our target, and we have a chance to change the game. This is the first step in a process. I keep telling you guys this. This is a process. This is the first building block of what's to come of this newfound transformation of Washington Redskins football. You put this kind of dominant player on that side of the football at that particular position, it makes everybody else better. And then in turn, the offense gets more opportunities, shorter fields, more chances because the defense is getting off the field on third downs, etc., etc. This changes everything. All right. I've been waiting for one of these types of players for a very long time at that particular position. I've been jealous, envious even, looking around the league at the likes of J.J. Watts and Von Millers and Aaron Donalds and even DeMarcus Ware to an extent when he was with Dallas in his prime, and watching guys like that, bad quarterbacks, and saying to myself, when are we going to get one of those? When is it our turn to get a havoc-wreaking, game-changing pass rusher? When is it our turn to be able to say, it's 3rd and 8, go sick him? When is it our turn to have a 4-point lead late in the ball game and not be on pins and needles because we feel like we've got a guy that can make a play or at least free up opportunities for other guys to make plays? When is it going to be our turn to get a strip, sack, forced fumble, scoop, and score? And oh yeah, that was Chase's 2nd sack of the game. That was his 3rd sack of the game. When is it our turn to get one of those guys? Well, I think it's about to be our turn, and I can't be any more giddy about it. So we got a ton to talk about on Wednesday. Hope you'll join me live as we'll break down more of Ron Rivera's teleconference with the media, talk about that and more. And we'll start to look at the Redskins draft in totality. Next week, we will have a mock draft live for the Redskins. I will put together a mock draft, handcrafted, and we'll go over that mock draft and talk about maybe you guys have some mock drafts. And you know what? That may be some homework. We'll talk about that tomorrow, but I hope to see you guys then. Remember, I am a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. Redskins spirit will never fold until we meet again. Hail to our beloved Washington Redskins. Looking forward to chopping it up with you guys on Wednesday night, 8:30 p. on the Redskins Report live. Until then, like this video, subscribe to the Louie T Network, and leave the comments in the comment section. Looking forward to reading and possibly chopping it up with you guys. Until Wednesday night, you guys take care. Have a good one. In Ron, we trust. Ron's plan. Ron's plan. Louie T.